Hey guys, this is Mark Hutten with AdultAspergersChat.com, and today I got a brief message for the NT wives out there who are in a relationship with a husband on the autism spectrum. Although what I'm about to say would apply if the inverse were the case as well. In other words, he is the NT and she is the one with autism spectrum disorder. But you may have run into a situation, and I'm sure you have, where you've tried to have a conversation with him about some of the relationship issues you'd like to resolve, and the thing just ended badly, and always does. And you just get to the point where you just give up even trying to have conversations about difficult topics. So what goes on, and this is kind of hidden, and honestly, this conversation is going to be a bit spooky because we're talking about stuff that's almost at a spiritual level. But anyway, you, by virtue of feeling emotionally deprived and not getting the emotional reciprocity that you want and honestly deserve, are in a state of anger, frustration, perhaps depression, anxiety, and so on. And why wouldn't you be? But when you go into a situation where now you're going to have a conversation with him, you come into that conversation negatively charged. And what I mean by that is you're giving off a negative vibration that he will pick up on. And he won't even know he's picking up on it. He'll just know that now his anxiety and anger is up, because now he has matched your vibration. And so we call this a vibrational match. In this case, it's a negative one. So now he is charged with an element of negativity. His anger, resentment, and so on now begins to rise, which now his negative energy field comes to you, which feeds your existing negativity, which then goes back to him, and so now you're in this negative feedback loop. So you're giving off a negative charge, he picks up on the negative charge, then becomes also a sender of more negative energy, which you pick up on, and we call this, again, a vibrational match. So I know this whole conversation is a little mysterious. It's something that you can't see, but you know there are things that exist even though you can't see it. You're breathing right now. You don't actually see the air, for example. But you've already experienced this. Maybe you weren't conscious of it. Have you ever been around somebody and you just felt uneasy around that person? They weren't doing anything wrong. They weren't giving off any obvious facial cues or body language. They may not have even been talking. They were just within your field, and you just felt uneasy around them, and you didn't even know why. So we know that this business of having an energy field that extends a few feet beyond your actual physical body, we know that that exists. So this happens, but it happens more profoundly when the feelings in this case are more intense. And there's a wide range of emotions, and each emotion has different levels of intensity. Sadness is a low vibration. Panic is kind of a high vibration. They give off different levels of adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, cortisone, all of these fight or flight chemicals that get you either ready to run or to fight or to hide, or in this case we're talking about it gets you geared up to argue and fight and defend yourself and try to get the other person to cooperate and so on. All of that business is energy by definition. And you give off this energy, and that person that you're arguing with picks up on this energy, and that's why they argue right back. And that's why you get nowhere. All you've done is exchanged a bunch of negative energy. And now both parties are more resentful, more angry, and exhausted, and more willing to just give up, because we never get anywhere with these conversations. So this begs the question, well, what can I do in that situation? Well, a good first step would be to be aware of what's going on behind the scenes. If you peel back the curtains, you will see that anger and anxiety is just waiting to leap out in energy form. And so when you try to have a conversation the next time with your husband, and by the way, this works both ways. The ASD husband needs to use this information when he has a gripe with his NT wife as well. Go into that conversation with a different mindset, such that you are aware that you could get charged with negative energy. In other words, getting the chemicals going in you that stimulate anxiety and anger and frustration, and you're wanting things to be fair, you're wanting people to behave, you want to get people to do what you think they should be doing. All of that type of self-talk is getting your body charged up with negative energy. So the best thing you could do, and it would be a good first step, is to, when you go into this next conversation that may happen later today, ask yourself this question: how can I go into this conversation and have the mindset where I'm going to be positively charged? I'm going to come into this conversation with as much love, compassion, and gratitude as I can muster. I'm going to visualize how this person was back in the day when I actually enjoyed him and actually loved him and actually loved to be around him. I'm going to visualize that so that even though I may not necessarily feel that way today, that's going to be what I'm going to visualize, so that when I come into this conversation, I'm actually giving off positive vibes. And then he's going to pick up on some of that positivity. He's going to match you vibrationally. You get some of that positivity back. Now you're in a positive feedback loop. Links below this video for more information. Thanks, guys.